Here is the first appearance of Sabretooth. This is a reprint of Iron Fist issue 14, and man, do I wish this was an original copy. But when I was hunting online for one, God, between the prices on Amazon and eBay, forget about it. If y'all have a copy that y'all want to get rid of or just not much into comics, feel free to hit me up. I promise I'll take care of it. But in the meantime, at least I was able to get this one for relatively inexpensive. This is part of the Marvel Milestones editions. This is how I got my first copy of the Fantastic Four. I think Giant Size X-Men, X-Men #1, and there's a couple other that I got from this era. So when I saw this, I was like, well, I got some of these, so let's just dive into it. The print date on this book was August 1977. And for this time, again, big names on this book. So Snowfire, this is Chris Claremont, author, John Byrne, artist, Dan Green inks, Annette Kowitsky, letterer, Janice Cohen doing the coloring, and Archie Goodwin was the editor. So like I said, lots of big names. And of course, because it's John Byrne, the Canadian Rockies, west of Calgary, or however you pronounce it. I'm not Canadian, so feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. Gunshots, loud staccato explosions, shattering the silence of the midwinter night. And then a scream. Iron Fist, I'm hit. So in a sense, the way you're reading this is it feels like a play. Like you're actually sitting there like in the dark watching someone on stage and someone's setting the plot. And I just like how it says, and then a scream, and then he just... That's traditional storytelling. Because you're thinking, what the hell happened? And as I always say, your first comic should always, be the way that you get locked in, and you should know enough about what's going on. So even though this opens up and you're thinking, whoa, what the hell happened? It's enough to tie you into the book. And then as the plot unfolds, they start kind of going back to what happened and what brought Iron Fist and this individual into the Canadian wilderness. So like I said, first comic should drive you in and make you want to continue reading and hunting back issues as well. They tumble down the steep slope like puppets without strings. Their bodies loose, disjointed. They fall brutally, uncontrolled, until finally they come to rest, bloody starks against the moonlit snow. Yeah. So even though we know that a lot of times, our heroes are not going to die, it's still one of those things that kind of always reminds me of the Adam West 66 Batman, where it's like, will our heroes escape this? What will happen of this? Make sure to tune in, same bat time, same bat channel. So in this sense, it's kind of like, well, how the hell are they going to get out of being frozen to death, even though these assassins assume them dead? And so they find this sort of like outpost that's supposed to take care of them. It says, right here, it says, hold on, where is it? Among the rocks, their guns would have been useless against my martial skills. I could have ambushed them, taken one of their vehicles, and gotten called to a hospital. Oh well, can't be helped now. Cole mentioned a weather sack across the valley. I'd better head there. And so we think that this is where they're heading, then all of a sudden it says, you start across the glacier, and as you fight your way through the wind and snow, your mind drifts back a day to a Manhattan back alley. You've been heading home after an unusual quiet evening, and your thoughts, as they'd so often been these days, had been a misty night. So just a great way to segue back to the past. And it kind of builds up for a future arc where Danny here gets sideswiped by this, stranger. And I can never remember the dude's name, who's supposed to be was trained like Danny Rand was, but didn't inherit the Iron Fist. I can never remember his name, but I don't know if this is supposed to be his first appearance or whatever. But if it is, I like how they kind of show the remnants or the similarities between the two. Excellent, Iron Fist. You're all I'd hoped for and more. What do you mean? Who are you? Who am I, Daniel Rankai? I'm your executioner. And before we can even get answers, then we shoot back to the present. And I think this girl's name's Colleen. And of course, our heroes find a way to survive the snowstorm. They start heading back to their chateau. But when they think that they have a moment to Greetings, Ms. Wing. Mr. Rand, we've been expecting you. Sabretooth. You know me? Only by reputation. You're a freebooter, a modern-day pirate. For the right price, you'll rip off anything. Quite true. In this case, I'm after Lawyer Hogarth, who stuck his nose where it doesn't belong and made my employer very angry. Don't you make me angry, little girl. I'll scratch out your eyes. Take him away and lock him up. The pickup panel will be here at first light and we'll be leaving, and then we'll be taking those two with us. So I'm glad that Creed, in a sense, even though this is his first appearance, his look has not really changed. But from what I understand is Sabretooth initially was supposed to be a villain for Danny Rand. But I don't know what the discussion was. If you all know, feel free to elaborate down in the comments. I love when you guys do that because it just adds to the history and the review so that everyone kind of gets a more in-depth understanding of what was happening behind the scenes of the comic book. But anyway, get back into the book, and the battle is epic. And it just shows that even though Creed can be mindless at times, he's also very intelligent. I think he lets his hatred and his cockiness get in his way too much. Because Danny just goes right for him, and he goes, the name's Iron Fist, and as far as losing goes, bub, there's a first time for everything. And Sabretooth sitting here calling Danny bub. So I think that's where they kind of logically think, this is more definitely of a Wolverine villain. I'd love to have heard where Claremont decided he wanted to make Creed Logan's father. I wanted to go back and kind of check out the first issues of... what was that standalone book called? Was it X-Men Forever or something like that, where they let Claremont kind of flesh out more stories of what he wanted to do in the X-Men series, and it was kind of became out of continuity, but then I heard that the whole book took a left turn. But if that focused it on that, I'd love to go back, but I can never remember the name of the series. Anyway, that said, it looks like Creed's escaping from the Iron Fist. So Danny runs out the back of the chateau. There he is, running across the snow for real no cover for miles. Who knows, maybe this will be an easy fight after all. You move out of the shadows, confident of victory. Perhaps a little too confident. But then you're in the open, and it's too late for second thoughts. Sunrise. And just look at this close-up artwork. Again, 1977, no digital work here, my friends. All traditional methods. Light, blinding, unendurable, reflecting off the mile after mile of gleaming snow. The glacier instantly transformed into a giant mirror, and you've just been suckered right into the middle of it. My eyes, what's happening? And this is another thing where I miss when the paneling and the whole page told a story. So we are just completely just washed out. Heart of the Dragon, my eyes, I can't see. Then we start to see more of the background come into play, which is exactly what I had in mind when I lured you out here. You're snowblind, hero. Your optic nerves overloaded by the glare. It's only temporary, but you won't live to recover. And that's what I mean by Creed. Is smarter than he seems at times. But he doesn't take into the fact that Danny is the Iron Fist for a reason. Like, hell, I've never read an Iron Fist book in my life. But enough, I've read, Claremont did a good enough job in the dialogue to show the type of training that he went through and what he had to endure to become the Iron Fist after the loss of his parents, and all the different ways that he learned to survive, which is what allows him to ultimately, spoiler alert, defeat Sabretooth. But with that said, even though that's the case, it's an engaging read. The artwork, absolutely spectacular. And again, Claremont, Byrne, Glynis Oliver, Tom Orzanowski, those were such big names through the X-Men era. And so to see him here on Iron Fist, hell yeah. We will be going over issue 15 because apparently the next issue there's a team up with the X-Men. And of course, I hope we're having the same creative team on the book. But I can see why this is a highly sought after book. Yes, it's the first appearance of Sabretooth. Awesome, cool. But for me, I'm more of a story chaser. So when I get a good story, I gotta pursue it. I want to read the next issue. Kind of like how when we're going over that Conan issue. Next time I go to my local comic shop, I'm gonna see if I can find the next 2 parts of that Conan Red Sonja crossover, because I am hooked. I'm a good story junkie. And that's just as far as I could say it. So if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, first and foremost, please support your local comic shop or wherever it is like to get your action figures and comics. If you got the ducats, get yourself an original copy, because this is only going to continue to appreciate over the years. If not, then you can just hunt down. I'm sure it's been reprinted all over the place. I got lucky and found the milestone edition from '92. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Kunlun bell, next subscribe. That way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.